Let's begin by offering our respects to ISKCON founder Acharya and our preeminent Shiksha Guru, His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki Jai.
Jai.
Om Agyanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swamin Itti Namine. Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swa Padantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha. He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanchakalpataruvyaschа Kripa Sindhuvya evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shrivasati Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
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 Okay, so we welcome all of you to our weekly online Krishna book classes. We have with us here Auntie Neeta, Ritu Lalwani, they are together today. And then we have Joli Nandwani, Karuna, Shailesh Latkar, Aja, Shita Latkar, Shantaram Latkar, Kamala Nandini Mataji. Then we have Manju Nihalani, Swapna Latkar, Wendy, Dipti Adnani, Minakshi, Shreya Kalaria, and we have Shivani. Okay. So what did we see in the previous class? We are on chapter number? Which chapter are we on?
The Deliverance of Mucukunda.
The Deliverance of Mucukunda, no? Very nice. That's chapter number 51 of the Krishna book. Okay, so what did we see in that?
How Krishna came to the cave. And Kalia was following Krishna, and how Muchukunda opened his eyes and burned Kalia into ashes.
Yes, very nice. So Krishna appears when?
Once in a day of Brahma.
Once in a day of Brahma. So in one day of Brahma, there are how many Manus?
Is it 14?
Yes, 14 Manus, correct. So he appears during the reign of which Manu?
Can you repeat? What did you
He
say?
appears, Krishna appears during which of the 14 Manus of Lord Brahma?
Is it 7th?
Yes, during the reign of the 7th Manu. Now, each Manu has how many Divya Yuga cycles? First of all, what is a Divya Yuga cycle? Let's go start from there. What is a Divya Yuga?
Total of Satya Yuga plus Treta Yuga, Dwapar Yuga, and Kali Yuga.
Correct. So, one Divya Yuga is the 4 yugas put together. Now, each Manu rules for or reigns for how many Divya Yugas?
Is it 1,000 into something?
No, that 1,000 into something, you're calculating the day of Brahma. But we discussed that in one day of Brahma, there are 14 Manus, right? So one Manu reigns for how many Divya Yugas? Does anybody know? Or Shreya is the only one who's present in the class?
Is it 71?
71, yes, very good.
The screen, actually. I just read it.
See here. We saw this chart, no? We closed the previous class in this. So see, one day of Brahma is called as one kalpa. That is 4,320,000,000 years. This 4,320,000,000 years of one day of Brahma, during this period, there are 14 Manus. So if you divide this, you will get 71 Divya Yugas for each Manu. So each Manu is therefore 71 Divya Yugas. Now Krishna appears in the 7th Manu, right? 7th Manu. And in that 7th Manu has 71 Divya Yugas. So out of that 71 Divya Yugas of the 7th Manu, he appears in the 28th Divya Yuga. So Krishna appears in the 28th Divya Yuga of the 7th Manu. And like this, once in a day of Brahma, Krishna descends to our universe. Now, actually, we can also calculate what is the time right now in Brahma's clock. You want to calculate that? Or it's too technical? What do you think?
No, let's
It's today's time.
Yes, right now, what is the time of Lord Brahma? So
Yeah, can we do that?
yeah, we can do that. Let's see now. See, we know
Why Krishna is coming in 28th Divya Yuga?
because he chooses to come like that. I mean, he's completely independent, right?
Okay.
Okay. So now you tell me, how many Divya Yugas have passed for our current Brahma?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 into.
Very good. 6 into. We are making a very good beginning.
72. No, what is the
71 Divya Yugas. Correct. Okay. 6
Plus
into 71 plus. Very nice.
That 28.
28. Very good. What's the number?
Alright. I have to calculate.
Yes, you need your calculators.
6 into 71 plus 28. That is 454.
454 Divya Yugas have passed. Okay.
Mataji, can you please repeat again? 6 into 71, why? Why 71?
Why? Okay, so because Krishna is in the 7th Manu, so 6 Manus have already passed of Lord Brahma. Correct?
Okay.
So 6 Manus have already passed, and each Manu had 71. This is the duration of each Manu. So therefore 71 into 6, so many Divya Yugas have already passed of the current Brahma. Okay. And because he's come in the 28th Divya Yuga cycle of the current Manu, we add 28 more to that.
Shouldn't it be 27 because currently it is going 28?
Yeah. It's a rough calculation. You cannot get the exact number, but we take 28 to have a rough calculation. Okay. So 27 also you take, the number will not vary so much, but we'll just take 28 because we know he comes the 28th. So let's just stick to 28th to not get confused. Okay. So now we know why 6, because 6 Manus have already passed, each Manu 71 Divya Yugas, and he's come in the 28th 28th Divya Yuga of the current Manu. So 454 Divya Yugas have already passed for our Brahma. So it is this 454 out of 1000 Divya Yugas, because in one day of Brahma, see, one day of Brahma, you can see what I'm writing, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So one day of Brahma is 1000 Divya Yugas. Correct. So this 454 have already passed out of 1000. So what percentage of Brahma's day has gone?
Just minus that number from 1000.
45%.
Exactly, 45.4%. Very good. So
Okay.
this of Brahma's day has passed. Okay, 45%, 45.4% of Brahma's day has already passed. Now, but we know that 12 noon is midday. 12 noon is midday, and Brahma's day is for 12 hours. Okay. So if 12 noon is midday, 6 hours before 12 noon and 6 hours after 12 noon. That means from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. We roughly calculate Brahma's day. Of course, it can vary because sunset and sunrise is not always at the same time for us here. We know that. But because 12 noon is midday, we roughly calculate that the day begins at 6 a.m. and ends at 6 p.m. So if 6 a.m., if Brahma's day has begun at 6 a.m. and we have to calculate 45.4% of 12 hours of 12 will give you how much?
5.4 hours.
Yes. So 5.4 hours from where, from which? From 6 a.m., right? Have passed of Brahma. Correct?
Yes.
So we are saying the day, Brahma's day, because 12 is midday and Brahma's day is for 12 hours. Correct. So 5.4 hours from 6 a.m. have passed of Brahma. So if you calculate from 6 a.m. 5.4 hours, what is the time?
11:30 around.
11.
11:40.
Mm.
So this is roughly the time of Brahma's day right now. 11:40 to 11:45 roughly you can say, because of course we are not going to get the exact numbers. Because even 71 Divya Yugas is a rough estimate. It's not, it is 71, it's a decimal actually, 71 point something. So you can say it's around, it's just before midday for Brahma right now, of our current Brahma, of our universe. So this is Brahma's time currently.
So what he must be doing now?
Yes.
His service is creation. No, he creates bodies. He creates bodies and he creates the planetary systems. So that's his service. He's creating different kinds of bodies and he's creating different planetary systems. So what he does, he engages in tapasya. He engages in meditation. He is on the verge of just transcending the material world and going to the spiritual world. So he spends his time in sadhana. That's what he does. And his service, of course, is creating bodies and creating the different planetary systems. Okay? All right.
Now the AI must be creating it for him and he must be having more free time, I think.
Yeah.
Break, lunch break.
Okay.
Mataji, sorry, I didn't get why we are in this. Why do you calculate that we are in the 6th? Because I actually maybe I missed the class last Saturday. I'm so sorry for that.
No, that's not what we calculate. That's what the Shastras explain, that I'm sorry, Krishna descends in the 7th Manu. So there are 14 Manus in one day of Brahma. And Krishna comes in the 7th Manu. So if 6 Manus have already passed, so 6 into 71 Divya Yugas have already passed off Lord Brahma, because Krishna has already appeared. No. And when does Krishna appear? He appears at the end of the Dwapara Yuga also. See, the Divya Yuga that he appears, he comes at the end of the Dwapara Yuga and just before Kali Yuga starts. That's when Krishna actually descends. So Krishna's descent, as given in the Shastras, is out of the 14 Manus in the day of Brahma, he comes during the reign of the 7th Manu. And in that 7th Manu, out of the 71 Divya Yugas of the 7th Manu, he comes during the 28th cycle.
Okay. So in the chapter where he gives the darshan is what we're talking about, the 7th. They sees him in the form of Vishnu.
No, that is mentioned here in this chapter. See here, when
Yes.
it said that he who had foretold, see, Gargmuni had foretold to Mucukunda that
Yeah.
then Krishna will appear in the 28th millennium of the Vaivashta Manu. So Vaivashta Manu is the 7th Manu. Then
Okay.
Krishna would appear on this planet, and he tells him that when he appears during this time, you will have his darshan. Okay.
Okay. Thank you, Mataji.
Can you do Control Z? I just want to take a picture of the calculation we did.
Oh, I deleted it, but it'll be on the recording.
Oh, okay.
Okay, I just deleted it.
I think if you do Control Z, it might come.
Let's see.
Mm.
No, it's not coming,
No problem.
but it's there on the recording. Don't worry. Otherwise, we'll do it again. Hey, why is it going to the end of the presentation?
Mataji, I still didn't get the idea of that 45 percentage.
Okay. So you all want to do it again?
If it doesn't take much
How many
time,
of y'all didn't get? How many of y'all want to do it again? Let's go by the majority.
I will raise my hand. I'm just looking.
Okay, Shivani.
Me too. Me too.
Okay, 2. So everybody else understood? Okay, so since the majority doesn't want to go through it again, you can see the recording. Okay, Shivani and Lavina, you all can see the recording. And then if you have further doubt, then you ask me, no problem.
Okay.
Or you send me a WhatsApp and we can go through it again, no problem. Okay. Why is it going to the end of the presentation? Oh, I opened the wrong PPT file. 1 second. Okay, so this is where we have to continue from in our chart. My dear Lord, O Supreme Personality of Godhead, I can understand that all living entities on this planet are illusioned by your external energy and enamored of the illusory satisfaction of sense gratification. Now, who is speaking this? Who is speaking this?
Mucukunda?
Mucukunda.
Mucukunda, yes, because see, previously we saw that Mucukunda, he fell down at the lotus feet and began to pray as follows. So now that Krishna has come and he's shown himself to Mucukunda, now Mucukunda begins to offer prayers. So he's speaking this. Let's read it again. My dear Lord, O Supreme Personality of Godhead, I can understand that all living entities on this planet are illusioned by your external energy and enamored of the illusory satisfaction of sense gratification. Being fully engaged in illusory activities, they are reluctant to worship your lotus feet, and because they are unaware of the benefits of surrendering unto your lotus feet, they are subjected to various miserable conditions of material existence. They are foolishly attached to so called society, friendship, and love, which merely produce different kinds of miseries. Illusion by your external energy, everyone, whether man or woman, is attached to this material existence, and all are engaged in cheating one another in a great society of the cheaters and the cheated. These foolish persons, not knowing how fortunate they are to have obtained this human form of life, are reluctant to worship your lotus feet. By the influence of your external energy, they are attached to the glare of material activities, to so called society, friendship, and love, like dumb animals that have fallen into a dark well. The example of a dark well is given because in the fields there are many wells, unused for years and covered over by grass, and poor animals, not knowing of them, fall into them, and unless rescued, they die. Being captivated by a few blades of grass, the animals fall into a dark well and meet death. Similarly, foolish persons, without knowing the importance of the human form of life, spoil it simply for sense gratification and die without any useful purpose. So here Mucukunda is talking about how this human body is so precious, but foolish people, because they are so engaged in sense gratification and they are so attached to so many other materialistic activities, therefore they are not able to take advantage of this human life. See, for example, the fish. How are the fishes caught? So the fishing rod has a hook, and in that hook they put some food for the fish. No, they put a worm. So the fish is attracted to the food for sense gratification, and it goes to get that worm, and then the fish itself is caught in the hook. So what a painful condition. The birds also, if one wants to capture birds, what do they do? They just put some breadcrumbs or some grains or some food, and then the birds come, and then the net is thrown on them, and they are again captivated. How are the elephants captured? They have a ditch. They cover the ditch with grass, no? And these people who capture the elephants, they have a trained female elephant. So this trained female elephant is trained to lure the male elephants. So what happens? The female elephant lures the male elephant, and then the female elephant starts to walk and leads, and the male elephant starts to follow the female elephant. And the female elephant leads the male elephant into this ditch, which is covered by grass on top. The male elephant is not aware. So like that, the elephant falls into the ditch, and then the elephant is captured. So again, this male elephant is captured because of his desire for sense gratification. So like this, even the living and even we human beings, we are captivated. Maya captivates us by all these temptations for sense gratification. And then we are captured by Maya. So this is what Mucukunda is saying. How foolish people, because they are attached to sense gratification, then they are trapped and they don't realize the importance of this human body. My dear Lord, I am not an exception to this universal law of material nature. I am also a foolish person who has wasted his time for nothing. And my position is especially difficult. On account of my being situated in the royal order, I was more puffed up than ordinary persons. An ordinary man thinks he is the proprietor of his body or his family, but I began to think in that way on a larger scale. I wanted to be the master of the whole world, and as I became puffed up with ideas of sense gratification, my bodily concept of life became stronger and stronger. My attachment for home, wife, and children, for money and supremacy over the world, became more and more acute. In fact, it was limitless. So I remained always attached to thoughts of my material living condition. So Mucukunda is saying that what I have just said also applies to me. He's saying how he was also attached to family. He was also attached to gaining supremacy and money, etc. And therefore, he's saying that I am no exception to this universal law of material nature. I am also a foolish person who has wasted his time for nothing, Mucukunda is saying. Therefore, my dear Lord, I wasted so much of my valuable time with no benefit. As my misconception of life intensified, I began to think of this material body, which is just a bag of flesh and bones, as the all in all, and in my vanity, I believed I had become the king of human society. In this misconception of bodily life, I traveled all over the world, accompanied by my military strength, soldiers, charioteers, elephants, and horses. Assisted by many commanders and puffed up by power, I could not trace out your lordship, who always sit within my heart as the most intimate friend. I did not care for you, and this was the fault of my so-called exalted material condition. I think that, like me, all living creatures are careless about spiritual realization and are always full of anxieties, thinking, what is to be done? What is next? But because we are strongly bound by material desires, we continue to remain in craziness. See this example, Srila Prabhupada explains in the Bhagavad Gita purport. In one purport, he explains this very nicely. How the living entities always engage in sense gratification. So this bird here, who is eating the fruits on this tree, is so busy eating the fruits of the tree that it is not even aware that next to it there is another bird who is waiting patiently for this bird to turn towards him. Now this other bird who's on the same branch of that tree is the super soul, is the Paramatma, is Kṛṣṇa himself. Because Kṛṣṇa is accompanying us, no? In each body he is there. So the same branch signifies that the soul and the super soul are in the same body, And Kṛṣṇa as a Paramatma is waiting patiently for us to be done with our sense gratification and actually turn towards him. Turn towards him. So this bird here, when he is done with the fruits, when he is done with material sense gratification, only then he will be able to realize that, oh, there is another bird here who is my well-wisher. So this picture shows us the example of how the soul and the super soul are in the body, just as how both the birds are on the same branch of the tree. One is the living entity, one is Kṛṣṇa as the super soul. See here, Mucukunda talks about how he became proud of his position, of his military strength, soldiers, charioteers, and he became puffed up. No, he became puffed up by power. Therefore, I could not trace out your lordship. So, because he was so busy with all these things, he was not able to turn towards or trace out Kṛṣṇa, trace out God. So, there is a saying in English, no, pride comes before a fall. And therefore, in our spiritual life, we should be very, very careful that we don't get puffed up. We are not proud. No, humility is a very, very important quality for us to have in our spiritual life. See, in the 13th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, Kṛṣṇa lists 20 items which are characteristics of a person who is in knowledge. 20 characteristics of a person who is knowledgeable. And when he mentions those 20 characteristics, the first quality he mentions is humility. The very first quality out of the 20 qualities he mentions is humility. And Srila Prabhupada also says that beginning of all knowledge comes from humility. Because unless we are not humble, we are not going to seek out a senior devotee or a bona fide spiritual master a senior Vaishnava to give us knowledge. Because when we approach a guru, then that means that we are acknowledging that I do not know anything, I need to learn. No, I don't know, I need to learn. Therefore, I approach a senior devotee, I approach a guru, and then the guru gives us knowledge, and under the guidance of the guru, we begin to follow the 4 regulative principles and chant our 16 rounds. No? So therefore, it requires humility. Without humility, we cannot proceed in our spiritual life. Humility is very, very important, and throughout Shastras, over and over again, the importance of humility is stressed. Even Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, in his Shikshastakam, he said that one who is more humble than a blade of grass, more tolerant than a tree, gives all respect to others but does not expect any respect in return, that person can very easily chant the holy name, he says. So, more humble than a blade of grass, because people trample on the blade of grass, but the blade of grass does not protest. No, so one has to be more humble than the blade of grass, more tolerant than a tree. Now with the tree, there are so many different things that people do. Now people sometimes spit on the tree, people are urinating, sometimes people are carving names on the tree, sometimes people are putting nails on the trees because they want to decorate the place. So much of nonsense the tree undergoes, but the tree does not protest. So one has to be more tolerant than the tree. Then amanina manadena, do not he gives respect to everyone and does not expect any respect from the others. Then such a person can very easily chant the holy name. So if anybody is struggling with chanting, if somebody is not able to chant the holy name, then one has to remember this particular lesson that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has given in his Shikshastakam. See, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he did not write anything. The only thing that he wrote was these Shikshastakam prayers. Ashtakam, the word Ashtakam means 8. So Shikshastakam means 8 verses of Shiksha, 8 verses of knowledge, 8 verses of teaching. This is the only thing that he wrote. And this is one very, very important verse of the Shikshastakam, where he's mentioning about the importance of tolerance and pridelessness. So this is a very, very important quality that we should have.
Mataji, could you name the other? There are 20, you said.
The 20. Oh, so we can go to that particular chapter. 1 second. Let me share my screen. So here is your database. This is chapter 13. See here, verses 8 to 12. These are the qualities. Let's read. Humility, pridelessness, non-violence, tolerance, simplicity, approaching a bona fide spiritual master, cleanliness, steadiness, self-control, renunciation of the objects of sense gratification, absence of false ego, the perception of the evil of birth, death, old age, and disease, detachment, freedom from entanglement with children, wife, home, and the rest, even-mindedness amid pleasant and unpleasant events, constant and unalloyed devotion to me. So me means Kṛṣṇa, because Kṛṣṇa is speaking this verse. Aspiring to live in a solitary place, detachment from the general mass of people, accepting the importance of self-realization, and philosophical search for the absolute. All these I declare to be knowledge. And besides this, whatever there may be is ignorance. So this is the verse. Here are the 20 qualities, 20 characteristics of a person in knowledge.
Hare Krishna Mataji, from which book did you get this?
This is Bhagavad Gita, chapter 13.
Okay. And the prayers that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has given.
That is in the
book?
Shikshastakam. That is there in your Chaitanya Charitamrita.
Okay. Okay. Thank you, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Okay, let's go back to our presentation. Right. I have half a dozen windows open.
Yeah, I think we can see your screen, Krishna book.
Okay, you can see the slide?
Yeah, we can see the be humble or be humbled.
Okay, okay. So be humble or be humble, which means that if we are not humble, no, so we already discussed how humility is a very, very important quality in Krishna consciousness. So if we are not humble, we will be humbled anyway. So how are we going to be humbled anyway? Because Maya, she doesn't play nice, no? She lures us with all these temptations, but ultimately she only is going to give us pain. Ultimately, we are going to have to give up, drop everything that we have accumulated. Now, if one is proud of one's position, one's beauty, one's strength, one's intelligence, one's wealth, etc. But what happens when death strikes? All this is going to go anyway. No? So if we are not humble, we will be humble over time. Kal and time and Maya, they are going to humble us anyway. So it's better to cultivate the quality of humility and be able to engage in Krishna conscious activities without pride. Because humility is one quality that very much attracts Krishna. See, for some people, even see, we say pride comes before the fall. Sometimes people fall. Even after the fall, the pride will not go. So Chaitanya Charan Prabhu says, pride goes before a fall. But does pride fall? Still, pride will not fall for so many people. For example, Duryodhana in the Mahabharata. Throughout the Mahabharata, we read about his pride. And even when he was there with the broken thigh, he was in the last few moments of his life. Even then, he did not surrender. Even then, he was very, very proud of his position. So, for some people, that pride is so much that even after the fall, the fall comes, but the pride will not fall for that person, unfortunately. Okay. Yet, in spite of our being so absorbed in material thought, inevitable time, which is only a form of yourself, is always careful about its duty. And as soon as the allotted time is over, your lordship immediately ends all the activities of our material dreams. As the time factor, you end all our activities as a hungry black snake swiftly swallows up a small rat without leniency. Due to the action of cruel time, the royal body, which was always decorated with golden ornaments during life, and which moved on a chariot drawn by beautiful horses, or on the back of an elephant nicely decorated with golden ornaments, and which was advertised as the king of human society, that same royal body decomposes under the influence of inevitable time and becomes fit for being eaten by worms and insects or being turned into ashes or the stool of an animal. This beautiful body may be recognized as a royal body while in the living condition, but after death, the body of even a king is eaten by an animal and therefore turned into stool, or is cremated in a crematorium and turned into ashes, or is put into an earthly grave where different kinds of worms and insects are produced of it. So we spend so much time on our body. That's why in this Kali Yuga, especially, all these um businesses are flourishing where one can reverse old age, one can reverse disease, or one can reverse the passage of time. So many treatments are there, so many items of makeup, so many items of coloring the hair, so many even clinical treatments like Botox and I don't know what not is existing in the market because people don't want to turn old. So much of investment of time and energy and money on the body, but ultimately, what is going to happen to that body? Even hair and nails. Hair and nails are the dead tissues of the body. But so much of fascination is there for the hair and nails now in Kali Yuga, right? So, all this investment that we are doing on this body, ultimately, the body is going to turn to stool or ashes or dust. I mean, ashes and dust is the same thing, but either stool or dust or Ashes, yes, because when the body is burnt, it turns into ashes. When the body is buried, it turns into dust. And when the body is, in some faiths, they leave the body to be eaten by wild animals. So then it turns into stool. So there is value to the body only as long as the soul is present in the body. Once the soul leaves the body, then the body is a dead body and it is going to turn into stool or dust or ashes. So we must remember the importance of the soul. As long as the soul is there in the body, it's a living body. But once the soul leaves, immediately the body is disposed of. Nobody keeps a dead body, right? So there is no value to the body if the soul is not present. So cruel time takes away everything. So see, sometimes if we are at the airport and they say you're overweight and you have to dump some kilos, then it is so painful for us. Even 2 kilos of our baggage weight we don't want to dump, right? But death is something that is going to make us dump everything that we have accumulated over our lifetime. So no baggage is allowed. That is cruel time. And material qualifications are like decorations on the dead body. So if we don't focus on our spirituality, then whatever material qualifications we have, then there is no value to those material qualifications. There is no value to our beauty. There is no value to our wealth, knowledge, strength, or any other material qualification, our degrees, or any other material qualification that we have is of no use if we don't use it in the service of Krishna. If we use it in the service of Krishna, then there is value to our material qualifications. Otherwise, it's just like decorations on a dead body. It's of no use. My dear Lord, we come under the full control of this inevitable time, not only after death, but also in a different way while living. For example, I may be a powerful king, and yet when I come home after conquering the world, I become subjected to many material conditions. When I come back victorious, all subordinate kings may come and offer their respects, but as soon as I enter the inner section of my palace, I myself become an instrument in the hands of the queens, and for sense gratification, I have to fall down at the feet of women. The material way of life is so complicated that before taking the enjoyment of material life, one has to work so hard that there is scarcely an opportunity for peaceful enjoying. And to attain all material facilities, one has to undergo severe austerities and penances and be elevated to the heavenly planets. If one takes the opportunity to take birth in a very rich or royal family, even then he is always anxious to maintain the status quo and prepare for the next life by preparing various sacrifices and distributing charity. Even in royal life, one is full of anxieties, not only because of political administration, but also in regard to being elevated to the heavenly planets. So one should not think that, oh, even if one is a great king, he may be the emperor of the planet, but still there is anxiety because it is still the material world. That's the nature of the material world. See, explaining this point, that how he's saying that he is all victorious and all subordinate kings have come and offered respects to him. But when he's in the inner section of his palace, for the sake of sense gratification, he has to fall down at the feet of women. So Srila Prabhupada gave this very nice example. Can anybody tell this? Can anybody interpret this picture? Let's see first. What do you think?
Kicking a horse.
What's that?
A horse kicking a horse.
A horse kicking a horse. Is that a horse?
Is it a
Donkey.
donkey?
Yeah, it's a donkey. So what's happening there? Why is the donkey kicking the other one?
I think the
The donkey fell at the feet of the first donkey.
For what?
For self-gratification.
Yes. So when the male donkey approaches the female donkey for uniting, then what the female donkey kicks the male donkey right in the face. And the female donkey continues to keep kicking the male donkey. And the male donkey continues to approach the female donkey and continues to be kicked, right? And then the male donkey is saying, oh, this is great. So this is Maya. Maya kicks us over and over and over again, but still we think that this sense gratification is great. This is wonderful. I want it. I need it. This is what is this is the example that Srila Prabhupada gives to understand this point. It is therefore very difficult to get out of material entanglement. But if one is somehow or the other favored by you, by your mercy alone, he is given the opportunity to associate with a pure devotee. That is the beginning of liberation from the entanglement of material conditioned life. My dear Lord, only by the association of pure devotees is one able to approach your Lordship, who are the controller of both the material and spiritual existences. You are the supreme goal of all pure devotees, and by association with pure devotees, one can develop his dormant love for you. Therefore, development of Krishna consciousness in the association of pure devotees is the cause of liberation from this material entanglement. So, what name of Krishna means that he is the giver of liberation?
Mukunda.
Mukunda. So, can we approach Krishna directly? Because he is the giver of liberation.
No, through the spiritual master.
Yes, through the bona fide spiritual master only, we can get liberation. We cannot approach Krishna directly. We have to go through his agent. We have to go through his agent. So that agent is the bona fide spiritual master. One must not think that, oh, I can, Krishna is in my heart, I will directly approach him. That is a mistake. Without the blessing of Guru, one cannot get the blessings of Krishna. And by the blessings of Krishna, we get the blessings of the Guru. By the mercy of Krishna, you get Guru. Then again, by the mercy of Guru, you get Krishna. This is how it happens. So, because when we are in devotee association, then automatically we discuss Krishna conscious topics, and just discussing Krishna conscious topics, it purifies our heart. It removes our sinful reactions. Even a moment's association with a pure devotee can remove mountains and mountains of sinful reactions from the past millions of lifetimes. That's how powerful is the association of a pure devotee. So we know Srila Prabhupada, when he traveled to the West, see, there were many versions of the Bhagavad Gita translated, already available in America, 600 to 700. I read that Bhagavad Gita's translations by different philosophers, scholars were already available in America. But all those Bhagavad Gitas did not make even a single devotee. But when Srila Prabhupada traveled to America, he made thousands of devotees, right? And then for the next 10 years, he traveled all around the 12 years, he traveled all around the globe 14 times. He established 108 magnificent temples. He translated over 70 books, and he made thousands of devotees all over the world. And again, now it, of course, still it is continuing now. So it's the impact the world has had just by the potency of one pure devotee. That is Srila Prabhupada. So just imagine if we have more pure devotees on this planet, then the whole world will become a very nice place to live in. So pure devotee is compared to a transcendental touchstone. Transcendental touchstone. Whatever you touch with the touchstone turns into gold. No? So pure devotee is compared to a transcendental touchstone. Anyone who comes in touch with a pure devotee can turn into gold, or in other words, turn into pure devotees. See here, this is from the Srimad Bhagavatam, from the Uddhava Gita section. Now, Uddhava Gita is the Krishna's message to Uddhava. And this is Krishna's last message before he departed, before he left this planet. So these are Krishna's final instructions before he left. In that, Krishna is telling Uddhava. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, "My dear Uddhava, by associating with my pure devotees, one can destroy one's attachment for all objects of material sense gratification. Such purifying association brings me under the control of my devotee. One may perform the Ashtanga Yoga system, engage in philosophical analysis of the elements of material nature, practice non-violence and other ordinary principles of piety, chant the Vedas, perform penances, take to the renounced order of life, execute sacrificial performances and dig wells, plant trees, and perform other public welfare activities, give in charity, carry out severe vows, worship the demigods, chant confidential mantras, visit holy places, or accept major and minor disciplinary injunctions. But even by performing such activities, one does not bring me under his control. So just imagine, because see, many times people say, oh, but it's only important to be a good human being. I am a good human being. I've done nothing bad for anybody else. I have no bad intentions. Therefore, I'm good enough. No, it's not good enough. Just being a good human being or engaging in all these activities Krishna has mentioned here is not good enough for one to attract the mercy of Krishna, to attract uh, the mercy of Krishna. No, that can be done only by associating with his pure devotees. Krishna is saying, because when we are with a pure devotee, then we engage in bhakti yoga. And when we engage in bhakti yoga, that bhakti attracts Krishna, not all these other items that Krishna has mentioned here. And if we want to go back to the spiritual world, if we want to associate with Krishna in the spiritual world, then it's very important to engage in bhakti yoga under the instruction of a bona fide spiritual master. Coming back to Krishna book. My dear Lord, you are so merciful that in spite of me, of my being reluctant to associate with your pure devotees, you have shown your extreme mercy upon me as a result of my slight contact with such a pure devotee as Gargamuni. By your causeless mercy only, I lost all my material opulences, my kingdom and my family. I do not think I could have gotten rid of all these entanglements without your causeless mercy. Kings and emperors sometimes accept the life of an ascetic to forget their royal life, but by your special causeless mercy, I have already been bereft of royalty. I do not need to become a mendicant or practice renunciation. My dear Lord, I therefore pray that I may simply be engaged in rendering transcendental loving service unto your lotus feet. This is the ambition of pure devotees who are freed from all material contamination. You are the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and you can offer me anything I want, including liberation. But who is such a fool that after pleasing you, he would ask from you something which might cause entanglement in this material world? I do not think that any sane man would ask such a benediction from you. I therefore surrender unto you because you are the Supreme Personality of Godhead. You are the Super Soul living in everyone's heart, and you are the impersonal Brahman effulgence. Therefore, you are also this material world, because this material world is only the manifestation of your external energy. Therefore, from any angle of vision, you are the supreme shelter for everyone. Whether on the material plane or the spiritual plane, everyone must take shelter under your lotus feet. I therefore submit unto you, my Lord. So, has Mucukunda benefited by devotee association?
Yes.
No,
Yes or no? Tell me why yes,
no,
and you tell me why. Okay, let's go with the no first. Why do you say no?
because he himself says that you have been merciful upon me even without the association of devotees.
Where does he say that?
You have shown your extreme mercy upon me as a result of my slight contact with such a pure devotee. Sorry,
So, no?
I contradicted myself.
Okay. So, Shreya, now you tell me, why do you say yes?
But he said it in the first line, no? You are so merciful that in spite of me being reluctant to associate with your pure devotees.
Yeah, he was reluctant, but still he received the mercy of Gargamuni, right? He received the association of Gargamuni. So he has benefited by the association of Gargamuni. Yes?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, yes.
Because Gargamuni was a pure devotee. So coming in contact even for it says like love matra sadhu sangha.
Exactly. Yes. So what did Gargamuni do for Mucukunda that has caused him to receive the darshan of the Lord?
His son approached him and disturbed his sleep, and so he woke up.
Because of Gargamuni. Gargamuni is the one who told them, right?
Told him? Yes, you're on the right track. Told him what?
You will get in Treta Yug. No, not Treta, Dwapara Yug. You will see God. Then you will get Bhakti. Something like that, I remember.
Yes, it was Gargamuni who made this prediction, and he was the one who informed Muchukunda that in the 28th millennium of the 7th Manu, Krishna will come and he will give you his darshan. No, it was Gargamuni who informed Muchukunda. So therefore, Muchukunda, he said, okay, I want to sleep so that I can wait till Krishna can come and give me his darshan. No, so he was very tired, but he knew that Krishna is going to come. So he said, okay, until that time, I will wait for him in this cave. So that information that Gargamuni gave him, that Krishna will give you darshan, that was what kept him going. No, that's what kept him going, and he continued to wait for Krishna. Just as how in the Ramayana, who had waited for Ram for several years?
Shabri.
Who?
Sabri.
Shabri, yes, Shabri, no. So Shabri was informed by her spiritual master that you wait here in this spot, and one day Lord Ram will come. And at that time, Shabri was very, very young. She was a very young girl. And by the time Ram has come there, Lord Ram has come there, she has already spent her entire lifetime. No, she's now very, very old. Her back is arched. She's very, very, her skin is all wrinkled. Her hair is all white. She's turned into a very, very old lady. But because her spiritual master told her that one day Lord Ram will come and you don't move from this place, she remained in the same spot throughout her lifetime. And every single day of her life, what has she done? Tell me.
Clean the house, put flowers at the entrance, and she has kept some fruit for him.
Yes, yes. See, imagine so many years. Every single day, she brings flowers from the forest, she brings fruits from the forest, and she's keeping the fruits in her house, anticipating that Lord Ram will come. And she's decorating the whole pathway, anticipating that Lord Ram will come. So I have to welcome him nicely with this flower decoration. And then he doesn't come, and then again next day she does the same thing. So every single day of her life she's doing that. So also it shows how much faith she had in the words of her spiritual master. So many years she spent uh, preparing to welcome Lord Ram. And then of course Lord Ram came. So yes, Muchukunda, he did benefit by the association of a pure devotee, Gargamuni.
So,
So who was the father of, Muchukunda? It's Gargamuni, right? No?
Who was the...
Father of Muchukunda.
No. Kalayavana was the son of Gargamuni because he wanted to have a son who will invoke fear in the Yadavas. It's Kalayavana
Okay.
who has already died.
So then Gargamuni gave benediction to Muchukunda
Yes.
that sleep and so how did that happen? I don't know.
Oh, that story I don't know, but somehow Gargamuni gave him this benediction and he predicted to him that Krishna will come one day. Okay. Priyanka, you have your hand raised?
Yes, Mataji, as it is mentioned that Dada Muni is the pure devotee, but I was wondering why would the action of pure devotee be like to get the son who can invoke fear in the heart of Yadavas?
See, because the Yadavas, they misbehaved with him. No. And as a pure devotee, he can correct the pure devotees. He is correcting them. He is bringing them back on track. Just as how Narada Muni cursed Nalakuvir and Manigriva so that they can come back on track. Right? So because the Yadavas, they misbehaved with Garga Muni, being a pure devotee, he is bringing them back on track by that curse. So pure devotees can curse to bring you back on track. But that curse is not only a curse, it's a blessing in disguise. This is how we see it.
Very good. Thank you.
Hare Krishna. Yeah, Shreya?
Who gave this benediction to Muchukunda to sleep for 100 years and nobody will disturb? Who was that?
Kartikeya. Lord Kartikeya, because he fought very nicely. So Kartikeya, he is the commander-in-chief of the Devatas. So he said, what do you want? So he said, I want to sleep, and I want to sleep uninterruptedly. So therefore he said that anybody who wakes me up from the sleep should be burned to ashes. So Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur explains that. He said, he asked for this benediction that anybody who wakes him up would be burned to ashes, so that Indra again does not come back to him and again seek help for fighting against the demons. For many, many births, I have been suffering from the threefold miseries of this material existence, and I am now tired of it. I have been impelled only by my senses, and I was never satisfied. I therefore take shelter of your lotus feet, which are the source of all peaceful life and which can eradicate all lamentation caused by material contamination. My dear Lord, you are the super soul of everyone, and you can understand everything. I am now free from all contamination of material desire. I do not wish to enjoy this material world, nor do I wish to take advantage of merging into your spiritual effulgence, nor do I wish to meditate upon your localized aspect of Paramatma. For I know that simply by taking shelter of you, I shall become completely peaceful and undisturbed. So, see here, he is saying that I do not want to merge into the Brahman effulgence. Neither do I want to realize the Paramatma feature of yours, because now he wants to realize the Bhagavan feature of the Lord. So, what is this threefold miseries of material existence?
Are the Kaumara, Vardhakya, those are the things? No.
No.
Adi Devik, Adi Bhautik.
Yes. Yes, very good. Adhyatmik, Adi Bhautik, and Adi Daivik. Adhyatmik is the miseries that are caused by our own mind and body. So if we have any disease, physical disease, mental disease, these are problems that are caused by our own mind and body. Adi Daivik, miseries causing that comes from natural calamities, cyclones, earthquakes, famines. These are all miseries that are coming due to natural calamities. Adi Daivik. Daivik means divine. No? It has a higher power. And Adi Bhautik, miseries inflicted by other living entities. So sometimes mosquito bites can also cause diseases, or even a terrorist is another living entity which is causing miseries. No? So these are Adi Bhautik, are miseries caused by other living entities. So this material world has these threefold miseries: Adhyatmik, Adi Daivik, and Adi Bhautik. But in the spiritual world, obviously there is no misery. On hearing this statement by King Mucukunda, Lord Krishna replied, My dear king, I am very much pleased by your statement. You have been the king of all the lands on this planet, but I am surprised to find that your mind is now freed from all material contamination. Now you are fit to execute devotional service. I am most pleased to see that although I offered you the opportunity to ask from me any kind of benediction, you did not take advantage of asking for material benefits. I can understand that your mind is now fixed in me and it is not disturbed by any material quality. The material qualities are three, namely goodness, passion, and ignorance. When one is placed into the mixed material qualities of passion and ignorance, various kinds of greed and lusty desires impel him to try to find comfort in this material world. While situated in the material quality of goodness, one tries to purify himself by performing various penances and austerities, and one reaches the platform of a real Brahmana. When one reaches the platform of a real Brahmana, he aspires to merge into the existence of the Lord. But when one desires only to render service unto the lotus feet of the Lord, he is transcendental to all these three qualities. The pure Krishna conscious person is therefore always free from all material qualities. Does anybody know this pastime from Chaitanya Leela? So this I put here because of this line, that one only desires to render service unto the lotus feet of the Lord. So for a devotee, the only thing that's important is to render service. So, okay, so this is from Chaitanya Leela. See, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who's none other than Krishna himself, when he was in Jagannath Puri, he lived in a room called Gambhir. That room is still present now. If you go to Jagannath Puri, you can visit Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's room there. It's called Gambhira. And he had a servant called Govinda at that time. And what Govinda would do was, every day, it was his daily routine. He would massage Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's lotus feet. He would massage his legs, no? And after Govinda, see, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu would have his lunch and he would come to his room and take rest. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has already had his lunch, right? And he's resting. So Govinda would come and he would press his feet. And after he has finished his service of massaging the legs of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, then he himself would take his prasad. So this was a daily routine. So one day it so happened that there was this long ecstatic kirtan in which Chaitanya Mahaprabhu participated, and he was leading a very, very long kirtan for a long time. So when he came to his room to take rest, he was very, very tired, and he happened to take rest at the doorway of his room, at the doorway itself. So now Govinda has come for his daily service of massaging the legs of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and it so happened that he's blocking the entrance. No, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is blocking the entrance. So how will Govinda enter? So he requested Chaitanya Mahaprabhu that please, can you move? Kindly turn on one side and let me pass to enter the room. At that time, the Lord, he replied that I cannot move my body, because he was very tired, and he said that I cannot move my body. And Govinda repeatedly, he kept requesting that I want to massage your legs, Lord, I want to massage your legs. But then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he did not move at all. So now Govinda, he wants to do his service. So what he did was, he stepped over Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Actually, that is a regularly, I mean, in a regular situation, one would never do that, because it's disrespecting the person. No, it's disrespecting the person. But because he wants to do his service, he therefore stepped over Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He placed a shawl on top of his body, and it appears that somehow he thought that that would minimize his offense a little bit. So he placed a shawl on top of his body, and then he crossed over the body of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and he massaged his legs. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he slept nicely. And when he got up, he sees that Govinda is still there inside the room. So he tells him that, why did you not take prasad? So he said, no, I could not go out of the room to take my prasad. So he said, but then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, but then how did you come in? You could have gone out the same way that you came inside, right? But then Govinda did not reply. In his mind, he is thinking, Chaitanya Charitamrita describes that in his mind, Govinda was thinking that for the sake of rendering my seva, my devotional service, I don't mind taking the offense of stepping over the Lord, because that is for the sake of service. But I would not do that same thing for the sake of me taking prasad, no, because he wants to, he has to consume. So for that sake, he is not going to do that very same act. So what's the bottom line here is that for the sake of service, Govinda was ready to even take the offense of stepping over Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, but not for the sake of his taking the prasad. No? So this is the importance of devotional service. That is the importance of seva. My dear Lord, my dear King, Lord Kṛṣṇa continued, I offer to give you any kind of benediction just to test how much you have advanced in devotional service. Now I can see that you are on the platform of the pure devotees, for your mind is not disturbed by any greedy or lusty desires of this material world. The yogis who try to elevate themselves by controlling the senses and who meditate upon me by practicing the breathing exercise of pranayama are not so thoroughly freed from material desires. It has been seen in several cases that as soon as there is allurement, such yogis again come down to the material platform. Can you think of some examples of yogis
Saubhari.
who have come to the material platform as soon as there is some allurement?
Saubhari Muni.
Yes, Saubhari Muni. So Saubhari Muni, where was he meditating?
Maybe
In the water.
In the river.
In
The
the
river.
water. No, so he had become so powerful by his yogic powers that he was able to hold his breath for extremely long periods of time. So for many, many years, he was holding his breath and he was meditating underwater, because he said outside there is too much of distraction. But then what happened? What happened under the water?
he saw
He saw the
He saw
fishes
two
mating.
mating.
He saw two fishes mating, and that led to his fall down. So then he came out and he approached a king who had 50 daughters and he said, I want to marry them. So initially, because he was under the water and he meditated for many years, his body, his skin was completely wrinkled and he was not very attractive, no. But then what happened? By his mystic powers, he turned himself into a very, very attractive young person. And by his mystic powers, he created huge opulent palaces. And then all the 50 daughters of this king, King Mandata, they all married him because now he had a lot of opulence and he was very beautiful. So therefore, he ended up marrying married all 50 of the king's daughters. And he created 50 separate opulent palaces filled with a lot of gardens and wealth and servants. And from each wife, he had 100 sons. From each wife, he had 100 sons. So he has a massive family of over 5,000 members. So that just two fish mating led to his fall down. Any other example you can think of?
I don't remember the name of the yogi, but some damsel came.
Yes, some damsel came. Sage Vishwamitra, no? Sage Vishwamitra was lured by just the sound of the anklets of Menaka. His eyes were closed, but just the hearing of the anklets of the sound of her anklets broke his meditation. And then he was attracted to her. And then he was on the path of becoming a Brahma Rishi, which is another high position amongst the sages. But all the tapasya that he had done, everything got wiped out because of his attachment to Menaka. So Shreya, you have your hand raised.
Yes, I have a question regarding the Sobari Muni, which you mentioned. So, is that story somehow related to the curse of the moon? I
Curse
don't
of the
know.
moon.
Yeah, like curse to the moon. Actually, some Chandra was like, waxing and waning of the moon is somehow related to it. That's what I think. I don't remember.
Okay, what I remember is Saubari Muni, he had offended Garuda, who was the carrier of Lord Vishnu, who's a devotee of Lord Vishnu. And he had offended Garuda. And because of that offense of offending a Vaishnava, therefore he fell down because of that offense previously that he had committed.
Yes,
The
but
moon
I think
story, I don't remember.
moon story, I think that was related to his sons or somehow, like how the moon was cursed, that the moon will be waxing, um the glow will be gone, and then somehow somebody gave a benediction that the waxing will happen, but the waning will also happen. I don't remember. But
Okay. Okay.
so
I don't know. I cannot say either way, yes or no. I don't know. So it will be interesting. If you find the reference, you can share it with us. It's a very interesting story. Okay. And here on the other hand, Haridas Thakur, they tried to lure him, no? There was this person who wanted to defame Haridas Thakur. So he sent a prostitute to him. And on another incident, imagine Maya Devi herself has come to test Haridas Thakur and said that I want to enjoy with you. But what Haridas Thakur did, because of he was engaged in bhakti and he's a pure devotee, he made the prostitute and Maya Devi also, both of them surrendered unto him and they became devotees as well. So this is the potency of a pure devotee. My dear king, Lord Krishna continued, I therefore give you the special benediction that you will always think of me. Thus you will be able to traverse this material world freely without being contaminated by the material qualities. This statement by the Lord confirms that a person in true Krishna consciousness engaged in the transcendental loving service of the Lord under the direction of the spiritual master is never subject to the contamination of material qualities. My dear king, the Lord said, because you are a Kshatriya, you have committed the offense of slaughtering animals, both in hunting and in political engagements. To become purified, just engage yourself in the practice of Bhakti Yoga and always keep your mind absorbed in me. Very soon, you will be freed from all reactions to such sordid activities. In this statement, it appears that although Kshatriyas are allowed to kill animals in hunting, they are not freed from the resultant contamination of sinful reactions. Therefore, whether one is a Kshatriya, Vaishya, or Brahmana, one is recommended to take sannyas at the end of life to engage himself completely in the service of the Lord and thus become freed from all sinful reactions of his past life. So here Kṛṣṇa is saying that you have committed the offense of slaughtering animals because you are a Kshatriya. See here, Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur explains. Mucukunda thought, alas, alas, Kṛṣṇa wants to separate me from his association from now on. This can't be. It just can't be. So what the thing is, now it's time for them to separate. And Mucukunda does not want to be separated from Kṛṣṇa. And now Kṛṣṇa has noticed that. No? So noticing Muchukunda's great anxiety, Kṛṣṇa then thought as follows. In this incarnation, he should not associate with me directly. All my personal assistants in my pastimes have taken birth in Dwapara Yuga, such as Uddhava, Akrura, Arjuna, and Yudhishthira. Muchukunda, however, is extremely old, having taken birth at the very beginning of this Manvantara. When people see him, they will laugh and say, aha, who is this very tall and stout man who is such a poor match for the Lord? Even now, during this pastime of fleeing from Jarasandha, as well as in later pastimes such as the kidnapping of Rukmini, it will not be at all fitting for this person to be associated with me while I am fighting the likes of Shalva and others. He will take these opponents of mine and crush them in hands like mosquitoes. What excuse can I make up, therefore, to separate him from my association? After thinking like this, Kṛṣṇa decided that the only means to accomplish this would be to speak some false words in order to mislead Muchukunda. Thus he spoke this verse. So the reason why Kṛṣṇa is telling Muchukunda that you have committed this offense, you have taken the sinful reactions of killing the animals because you are a Kshatriya. Therefore, we cannot be together. No. So the reason why Kṛṣṇa said this is because Muchukunda is now extremely tall and he is very, very old. The Lord then assured King Muchukunda, in your next life, you will take your birth as a first-class Vaishnava, the best of Brahmanas, and in that life, your only business will be to engage yourself in my transcendental service. A Vaishnava is a first-class Brahmana because one who has not acquired the qualification of a bona fide Brahmana cannot come to the platform of a Vaishnava. When one becomes a Vaishnava, he is completely engaged in welfare activities for all living entities. The highest welfare activity for living entities is the preaching of Kṛṣṇa consciousness. It is stated herein that those who are specially favored by the Lord can become absolutely Kṛṣṇa conscious and be engaged in the work of preaching the Vaishnava philosophy. Thus ends the Bhaktivedanta purport of the 51st chapter of Kṛṣṇa, the Deliverance of Mucukunda. So see here, he says, in your next life, you will take your birth as a first-class Vaishnava, the best of Brahmanas, and in that life, your only business will be to engage in my transcendental service. So when one is engaged only in the transcendental service of the Lord, then obviously that means he is going to go back home, back to Godhead. Okay. Does that answer your question, Aja?
Yes, yes, yes.
Okay, and tell me now, who is more superior, a Brahmana or a Vaishnava?
Vaishnava.
Vaishnava is more advanced than a Brahmana. Why?
Because he's dedicated only to devotional service, no?
Yes, and a Brahmana not necessarily is a devotee. Not all Brahmanas are necessarily devotees, not necessarily dedicated to Krishna, but a Vaishnava is a devotee of the Lord. So there are many Brahmanas who are engaged in ritualistic activities, but they are not devotees. Devotion is absent in the heart. So therefore a Vaishnava is more advanced than a Brahmana. Okay, now, which is the highest welfare activity?
Preaching of Krishna
Preaching,
consciousness.
yes, it's the greatest welfare activity because when you preach and you give Krishna consciousness to somebody else, then you are initiating the bhakti process for that person. And when one starts off in the bhakti process, then one carries on from where one left off in the previous lifetime. No, so even if one person can do 5% of bhakti because you have preached to that person, in the next lifetime he will get a human body because he has to carry on from 6%. No, he cannot carry on bhakti in the body of an animal. So at least human life you are assuring for that person. And of course, if your preaching is strong and if that person also is willing to advance and sincerely work hard in Krishna consciousness, then that person will go back home, back to Godhead at the end of that lifetime itself. If he is, of course, under the instructions of the bona fide spiritual master. So there can be no greater welfare activity than preaching. In the Bhagavad Gita, of all the services that one can render to the Lord, Krishna especially highlights the preaching service in the 18th chapter. And he says that anyone who gives this message to the others, there is no servant more dear to me than he, Krishna says in the 18th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita. So as much as possible, at whatever, however we can do, we should try and give Krishna consciousness to the others. That is very, very important service. So on that note, by the mercy of Sri Guru and Sri Krishna, we come to the end of today's presentation. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Jai.
One thing I want to mention very
Jai.
quickly is this Mucukunda cave is still present. If you go to Gujarat, there is a cave called, there's a place called Junagadh. In Junagadh, there is a place called Mucukunda cave. And there you can climb, I think 4,000 steps, if I remember correctly. You climb and then you can go and visit this cave exactly where this pastime had occurred.
Wow.
Of Krishna giving the darshan to Mucukunda. It's called as the Mucukunda cave in Gujarat. Mucukunda Gufa in Hindi it is called.
Amazing.
Okay. So Shreya, I see your hand is raised.
I didn't realize it was in Junagadh. It's just 1.5 hours from where I live. Actually, Junagadh, my parents used to live before.
Okay. So
So,
now you know when you visit India, you can visit this place.
so I had a question. So who Muchukunda became in the next life? Do we have information about that?
It may be there somewhere. I don't have access to it. I don't know. If I get that information, I will share with you. I don't know.
And then who was he in his previous life? Or that also we don't know.
Don't know.
Okay. And then why did Krishna said that, I cannot make you participate in my Leela? I mean, that is, why would Krishna, I mean, even if he's old and long and whatever, like he can always, make him engage in his service.
Yeah, he is engaging him in a service by giving him that benediction that you will only think of me. That he is engaging, but personally he cannot because he's too tall and too old. So it's kind of, just imagine Krishna's his pastimes with his friends and cousins, and then there is this person who you have to look at like that. You see?
Yeah, he's like,
Yeah, Priyanka?
But this reason will indicate that the people in Satya Yuga could not go to Krishna.
Could not go to Krishna?
I mean, if the person is too tall, because all the people in the Satya Yuga might be too tall, right? So, but if Krishna is saying that the person is too tall and too old, then how can he be engaged directly with me? But then the people in the Satya Yuga, will they not go to Krishna then?
Already connected to Krishna, I think.
See, all these people with whom Krishna is performing his pastimes, they are his eternal associates. No, so they are coming when Krishna comes to assist him in his pastimes. So they have been existing previously in the spiritual world, but Mucukunda was in this material world only when Krishna was not yet personally present in this universe. So therefore, he still continues to have that height. But these other eternal associates of Krishna, when they come with Krishna, then they have the height suitable for that particular yuga. It's not now all these people in Satya Yuga, they can perform austerities and they can then become Nitya Siddha devotees, and then they can be qualified to come with Krishna in this Dwapara Yuga with that particular height. You see? But this person was living for so many years, therefore his height continued to remain like that. But others in the Satya Yuga, they can perform austerities, they can qualify themselves to become part of Krishna Leela, and then Krishna brings them, but then with the Dwapara Yuga height.
Yes, Mataji. I have another question. Is there any information on the number of Kali Yuga in the 28th Divya Yuga?
Kali Yuga,
Because
yeah, one Divya
one,
Yuga, all the 4 yugas put together. So there is one Kali Yuga, one Dwapara Yuga, one Treta Yuga, one Satya Yuga. That one cycle is one Divya Yuga.
yes, what is the number of cycles? I
In
mean,
what?
in the 28th Divya Yuga, what is the cycle of Kali Yuga?
28th Divya Yuga is one Divya Yuga only, one Kali Yuga.
That means there'll be 28th Kali Yuga, no?
See, in one day of Brahma, there are 14 Manus. Each Manu has 71 Divya Yugas. So in 71 Divya Yugas, there are 71 Kali Yugas. When he comes in the 28th Divya Yuga, that 28th Divya Yuga has one Kali Yuga. But if you're asking how many Kali Yugas have passed before Krishna has appeared in that particular Manvantara, then it is 28 into
71.
28 Kali Yugas.
Name of the Kali Yuga. She was also asking what is the name of this Kali Yuga in the 28th Manvantara.
Kali Yuga is called Kali Yuga only, no?
Oh, but they okay. So they were just calling different name for when Krishna. That's for the Yuga. They said different Yuga. Some name was mentioned in for the Yuga that Krishna appears, right?
Krishna appears at the end of Dwapara Yuga. Say that in the 28th Divya Yuga. Now the 28th Divya Yuga, what is Divya Yuga? A cycle of Satya, Dwapara, Treta and Kali Yuga. So in the 28th Divya Yuga, Krishna comes at the end of Dwapara Yuga. It's almost the end of that Divya Yuga. That's why when we calculated the life of Brahma, we just put 28 because almost that Divya Yuga also is almost ending now. He's coming at the
Yeah.
end of Dwapara Yuga.
When Gargamuni was telling to Mucukunda, he just he just said a name for this, maybe for this Divya Yuga. He said
He
in
said
this.
Manvantara. He said Manvantara. Manvantara is that reign of one Manu is called Manvantara.
Okay.
So the 71 Divya Yuga, the reign of one Manu of 71 Divya Yuga, that is called as Manvantara when one Manu comes.
Okay.
Okay, do we have any more questions or are we ready for the test?
Mataji, tomorrow is the last day of Purushottam Mass, right?
Yes, tomorrow is the last day of the month of Purushottam. That's correct. So you still have one more day of mercy.
So do we break fast on the last day or after the last day?
After the
On
last day,
15th?
like 15th you still follow everything. 16th morning you can break your fast.
Yeah. Thank you, Hare Krishna Mataji. Dandavat Pranam.
Dandavat Pranam. What a class it's been today. So many technicalities. Okay. So today's exam is based on the entire chapter number 51. There you go. There's your link. You have 15 minutes to submit.